Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Michael from Sweet Like Money. Sweet Like Money is a blog where I document my journey to financial freedom while educating and inspiring my community to live more financially intentional lives, build wealth and legacies for their families, and ultimately enjoy the sweet life of financial freedom. I want to use this platform to start a conversation around student loans. And why would I want to do that? Because personally, I have, wait for it, $92,000 in student loan debt. I know, it's crazy, right? But not only do I have a ridiculous amount of student loans, all of my friends and family that went to college also have student loans, or they had student loans and they paid on them for years and years, or they plan to pay on them for almost the rest of their lives. This is just not the way that I want my loved ones to live, like in this debt forever, in this bond that's keeping them down and keeping them from pursuing their dreams, keeping them from doing the things that they want to do, keeping them from experiencing life and showing their children how to experience life. So I want to start this conversation for a couple of reasons. So one is for those people who will be entering college in the near future or currently in college. I want them to avoid the mistakes that I made. And also those people who made the mistakes that I made or made different mistakes, but it found themselves in mountains of debt of student loans. I want them to know that they're not alone, no matter how much their student loan debt is. And it's actually possible to pay them off and pay them off quickly and then enjoy the sweet life of financial freedom. So I personally paid off last year $32,000 in debt. And I was able to pay off our cars, our medical bills, credit cards, personal loans, any and all consumer debt that we had except for my mortgage and my student loan. So I used the debt snowball and the debt avalanche method to pay off all of that debt. But now I am facing my student loans head on. After 12 months paying off that $32,000 in debt, I created a workbook. So it's a 30-day guide to debt freedom. So it gives you actionable items, steps to take that I made to pay off that $32,000 in debt. And at the end of the 32 days, you'll have all of the tools that I use to pay off that much debt in 12 months so that you can apply those same concepts to your life and your financial situation with your family, and you can determine how you can make the same kind of progress or better progress than I made. So you can purchase that workbook on my website at sweetlikemoney.com. You can also connect with me on Instagram at sweetlikemoneyblog and on Facebook at sweetlikemoney. So let's get back to the student loan series. So I wanted to do a 4-part series talking about student loan debt, the ins and outs of my experience. So the first part would be this video where I'm talking about why I have $92,000 in student loan debt. The next video will be talking about the mistakes that I made so that you can avoid them. And the third video, I will be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of student loans. So if you have an optimistic bone in your body, you can find the good in anything. So there are some good things that have come out of my student loans that I don't regret, and I'd like to share with you. And last, I would talk about my repayment plan and my strategy that I'm going to use to pay off this debt as soon as possible. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how I accumulated $92,000 in student loan debt. So let me give you a little bit of my background. So growing up, college was an unspoken rule. It was a must. It was a requirement, but nobody told me that I had to go. I just knew it off the top of my head. So my mom, she did graduate college. My dad, he went to college, but he did not graduate. And my brother, he has both his undergrad and his master's degree. So personally, I have my bachelor's in psychology and I have a master's in business administration. So growing up, I always knew that I was going to college, but how I would pay for it was a mystery. So the conversations that I had about payment for college went something like, make sure you fill out the FAFSA. The FAFSA tells you how much you're going to get. It gives you both grants and loans. So I had a friend that told me that her mom was going to get the Parent Plus loan for her. So I had that conversation with my mom. Mom, are you going to get the Parent Plus loan for me? My mom was like, absolutely not. You are going to go to college, but you are going to find a way to fund it yourself. So I had another friend that told me that her mom said that if she couldn't afford or fund college, she couldn't go. And I was like, what? Like, you're crazy. Everybody gets student loans. Why wouldn't you get student loans? Like, that's the thing to do. This is the normal thing. Fill out the FAFSA like me. So those were really the only two conversations that I had with my friends about how they would fund college. But ultimately, all of them got student loans, except that one friend that I mentioned. I think she got a couple scholarships. She went to school for a while, but I don't think she ever completed college. But yeah, so that's the only conversations that we had about it. So my parents didn't really save for college for me because they needed the money to take care of us. So I didn't really have a college savings fund. And so student loans was the answer. And that's what everybody did. So that's what I thought was normal. My mom did mention like, oh, you can get scholarships and grants that you could just work for. So I did apply for some scholarships. And when I say some, I mean 2. So I got those 2 scholarships. I got a couple Pell Grants. So altogether, I think I got about $15,000 in scholarships and grants, which definitely wasn't covering a undergrad and really wasn't going to cover a master's degree. So I just looked at the tuition, and the tuition for the schools that I went to, so I went to 2 different colleges for my undergrad. I went to school in Ohio, which is where I'm originally from. So I got an in-state tuition rate. So I think now I'm looking at the in-state tuition, and it's about $10,000 a year. And then I went to school for about a year and a half. I had my son. I took a semester off. And then I moved to Texas to continue. So when I was in Texas, I decided to continue my education. And I went to a private school. So that's another mistake that I'll talk about in the next video, why I went to that private school. But that school cost about $20,000 a year. So it was double my in-state school. And then when I went, I realized that the credits that I had at the school in Ohio didn't completely transfer to the school in Texas. So I would have to retake each one of my classes for like 0.25 of credit. And that wasn't going to happen. So I moved back to Ohio to finish school. And when I went back, I talked to my advisor, and he was like, oh, you only need a semester more, a year more, and you can graduate with your bachelor's in psychology. Had no interest in psychology. I just knew that I could graduate, and I only had a year to go. So that's what I did. So I graduated with about, my school cost about $50,000. So the 3 years that I went in Ohio, that was about $30,000, and the 1 year that I went in Texas, about $20,000. So that was about $50,000 total for my undergrad. That's how much it cost. Well, then my master's degree, I actually don't even know how much my master's degree cost, because I'm fortunate enough to work for a company that offers education assistance. So they covered my master's degree, but that didn't stop your girl from getting student loans. So I would just apply for the FAFSA. I saw how much they would give me. I didn't take a lot of additional loans out for my graduate degree, but I did continue to take loans. So got those loans, and what I would do is, it was like my goal was to get the highest refund check possible, because my refund checks really funded my lifestyle. So I had a job. I worked for the local newspaper, and so that covered all the bills. But my refund checks, they covered anything additional that I wanted to do. We went on trips. I got the latest technology that came out. I got the nicest clothes, the most expensive shoes and bags. Like, I just use my refund checks as like my annual bonus. So yeah, so I accumulated over all of that $60,000 in student loan debt. So I told you that my undergrad cost me $50,000, and then I also got those scholarships and grants. So that was about $25,000 that I did not need for school, and that I took out and I didn't need it. So yeah, I ended up with $68,000 in student loans by that time. Now, I told you earlier I have $92,000. So how did that additional like $25,000 accumulate? Well, over the years, I've made multiple mistakes from the time I entered college in 2005 until just a couple years ago when I started this journey to financial freedom. I made all of these mistakes that then added an additional $24,000, $25,000 onto my student loans. So remember, I only needed $50,000 for school. And now my debt has accumulated to almost double that at $92,000. So in the next video, I'll talk about all of those mistakes that I made that accumulated my debt and doubled it almost, that I didn't need, that you should avoid. Or if you made those same mistakes, you can connect with me. And like I said, just know that it's an actual thing, and you don't have to live in the mistakes that you've made around student loan debt. It's possible to pay them off, and we can do it together. So make sure you check out the next video about the mistakes that I made. In the meantime, you can connect with me on, again, Instagram at Sweet Like Money Blog, Facebook at Sweet Like Money, or on my website at sweetlikemoney.com, and check out the blog posts about my different experiences and the things that I've learned along the way. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video, and add in the comment section what led you to get student loan debt or student loans. Like, were you like me and your parents didn't save for college for you, or you didn't really, or you thought it was normal to get student loan debt, or were you in some another situation? So let's be honest and open and start this conversation so that we can improve. So thank you so much. I will see you next time. Goodbye.